It is time for day 2 on getting this windshield washer pump thing to work. The first problem I had was I was having a leak out of right here. And I believe the problem was, if somebody rebuilt this pump, there's a tube inside that pretty much feeds fluid up to the top and then out this way. And this tube it's this plastic, which it's not rubber, it's plastic, and I can understand why they might want that in water, but it wasn't sealing very well at the top, and so I believe that was forcing water out between the lid and the pump. Hopefully that's fixed. What I want to do now is I want to start it up, and according to the guide that I found online, this control hose that goes to the dash, when you push the button, it stops. I believe vacuum is escaping out of this hose underneath your dash, and when you push the button, it will plug it, and then that will then send water out the line into the squirters on the windshield. But before I do that, because I don't know the condition of the lines under my dash, I don't want water spraying all over everything while the car's on, I have this hose squirting out like that. So let's get the car started, and then we can play around with it and see what it does. That second spurt of water that you guys saw, I went inside on the dash of the car, and if you look, this wiper button is a little different than the rest of them. It turns in order to get the wipers to move, but it also pushes in. And I'll show you how that works. Here's an extra wiper switch that I had in a column I bought for the temp gauge. So it's fairly simple. Again, this is all mechanical. There's no electronics in the wiper motor or in the pump. So what happens is, this is a little tube that the control hose goes onto. And what I think happens, I've taken this apart and looked at it. There's a little rubber plunger in the bottom, and there's a metal rod that goes down this way. What I think happens is when you push that button, the rubber plunger seals off this tube. So vacuum will no longer escape, and because of that it makes the pump run. As you see, it does work. You also have part of this knob that rotates, and what that does is that pulls the wire back and forth. And if you look, it's connected right here, and that's how you get your different speeds. So it pulls side to side like that. Now, do I have enough in the pump to get up to the washer nozzles and squirt out? I don't think I do, but maybe I do. We'll have to go under the dash and see, and check out all those hoses. Also, during the test, I didn't see any water coming out of here, which means the inside hose is sealed up a lot better. I have replaced this hose, this hose, this hose, and this hose, which goes into the car up to the T in the dash. Fingers crossed we can get it to work without frying any electronics in my dash. I've turned my radio off for that reason. So let's see. Let's turn the wipers on. Okay, I'm looking for leaks coming from underneath the dash. Do not see any. That doesn't mean anything. Typical vacuum wipers. I'm not getting any kind of water flow. I don't know if it's not enough vacuum or what's the deal. I'm gonna go pinch off that line, see if I can't get it to do it manually. No, I'm not getting in much of anything. Don't have any leaks on the ground. Maybe I need to adjust that one other piece. That's probably what it is. Life's so hard when you're a dog. I believe I have to adjust maybe that. I don't know. I mean, I did get flow out of the bottle, and obviously there's a lot less there's a lot less liquid in it, but I don't know. I mean, maybe I have to prime it, maybe I have to get, water full on all the hoses. I don't know. I mean, we know the pump pumps, and when there's no leaks under here, it's not leaking from under the dash or anything like that. You'd see it real quick if it was. I'm tempted to take out these little nozzles and see if they're full of crap, because it could be this too. That's where they're supposed to come out of. Maybe try that first. First step to getting this wiper control out, where I think the problem is I can hear a hissing sound from under the dash, which makes me think there's a vacuum leak, is you need a little Allen key like this. From there, the knob just slides off. As you can see, this is the plunger that pushes in. Then you get a pair of pliers, and then this is an actual screw-on nut, and then that comes right off. After about an hour of struggle, I got it out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take it apart and see if I can replace the little rubber piece inside. This might be completely pointless. It might be a different problem somewhere else, but I can get water to the nozzles, but there's no kind of pressure or anything like that. On the car, you guys saw that the pump did work, but once I hooked it up to the main line and used this switch to run it, it didn't work. Here I have a vacuum gauge. Basically, it's a little pump that it creates vacuum, and it holds. So what I've done is I've reduced it down to the size it needs to be. And from taking this apart and looking at it, let me kind of explain to you guys how it works, at least how I think it works. So on the back end of this, you have a rubber washer like this that goes in there first. You have a metal washer. You have a spring to hold tension, and then on the back end you have a plate that kind of holds it all together. And the way it works is this piece, when you push the button, it moves the rod down, and what that does is it breaks the vacuum seal on the back side. So it pushes that metal washer against the spring, which then moves down, and then the vacuum is interrupted, which then runs your pump. Now, I've found out some interesting things, is that when I hold it together like this, and I apply vacuum to it, and you watch, it slowly loses vacuum. And I'll show you how it works. Let's see. So you push this in, and then all your vacuum's lost and the pump turns on. The main reason for this, I believe, is that this little rubber seal inside is literally 60 years old. I mean, it looks really good. So I tried a couple things. I took the little washer out of the other switch that I had, and it's not that thick, so it didn't really feel like it made that much extra pressure onto the rubber. What I want to try now is I'm going to use a little bit of grease, kind of try to lube up this rubber and see if it holds vacuum any better. And if worse comes to worse, I will somehow, some way, figure out how to make a new one, because I doubt they make replacements. Actually, I'm 1000% sure they don't. So that's with this is with grease. And with 2 washers. Looks like it holds pretty steady, but it's still losing vacuum little by little. Heck, maybe if I put more grease in. Yep, that's how it's supposed to work. Let me put more grease in there and see what it does. I'm basically using just boring old bulb grease. It lubes up the rubber, it doesn't corrode it, and hopefully it will hold vacuum a little better. So I'm hoping that was my vacuum leak that I could hear hissing under the dash. The pump's never going to run right if you have a vacuum leak. So you take this, push that plunger down, and that breaks the vacuum in on the switch, which then I believe activates the pump. Again, this is the first time I've ever done anything like this. I have no idea. It's just a guess. So the next thing we can do is go put it all back together and see if it works. That's the plan, at least. What I've done is I've basically moved the switch from the dash to out here. I'm going to turn the wipers on using the little wiper control right there, because you can get to it from out here. And then we're going to play around with this and see what happens. I'm getting like dribbles, see? But that's it. I don't know if there's a leak somewhere else or what. That's about as good as it's gonna get, I don't know. Well, I hope I figured it out. With the car running, I press the wash button. You can see the level in the jar go down, okay? So the pump is pumping, water's flowing, it gets vacuum. This is no longer leaking vacuum right here. The only thing I can tell is when I press it, this knob or this line gets vacuum, and it's supposed to go to this piece called the coordinator. Basically, it's a vacuum relay that when it gets vacuum, it's supposed to click the wipers on so that they run while the washers are spraying. Does that have anything to do with why they're not spraying? I don't know, but it's obviously not working either because the wipers don't pop on with the water. I mean, I'm getting dribbles out of it, and here's the thing: I can't see where it's, if it's got a leak somewhere else, I can't see where it's coming from. I did notice water dripping out of the bottom of this heater box, but that's normal because where does all the water go that goes into your cowl while it's raining? I mean, I'm getting little dribbles. I mean, maybe there's rubber hoses up inside of here that I can't see that are leaking. Or maybe my pump is not pumping enough. I don't know. It should be getting plenty of vacuum. Yeah, it does get enough vacuum. I'm going to take that coordinator apart and see what I can do with it. It should be fairly easy to remove. I don't think I can fix it like I can the actual switch itself, because if you look at this is like up to it. Yeah, it doesn't hold any vacuum. Totally gone. So this might be the end of trying to get the wiper washers to work, get everything good. If any of you guys have tips on, what else I can try, I'm all ears. I'm gonna look one more time underneath the dash and see if I can't see any kinds of leaking or places where it would lose pressure. But it should work. It really should. I pulled the top cover off this coordinator. It's a very simple part. Vacuum comes in this line right here. It sucks down this diaphragm, and then that pushes this end out, which turns the wipers on. It holds no vacuum, which means the seals inside are old and rotted and shrunk. I'm going to try, just because I can, to clean up these seals. Put bunches of, there's this good view of it for you. Put bunches of dielectric grease on it. Just see if I can get the seal. I don't think that's what's wrong with my system. I think my pump, even though it does move water, is just not pumping enough. I don't know. It's not like I can go to the store and just throw on a new one. When I bought it, it was supposedly good, but that doesn't mean anything. So, till next time.